18th in rushing, 17th in passing in the offensive line. They get Brandon Shell back at right tackle after missing 2 games with a bad ankle. It's a little misleading when you look at their rankings because that's just based totally on total yards as opposed to when you look at them on yards per play. They're second in the NFL in yards per play. So when they get the ball, they're very effective moving it. It's just like I said earlier, they just need a lot more snaps. Wilson is in trouble. Finds a way. DK Metcalf. 26 yards from Russell Wilson who made something out of nothing. Sunday made something out of nothing. One of the best you'll ever see on his highlight reel. This time he makes some people miss. And DK Metcalf does a terrific job of seeing he's in trouble, and then he goes and gets open. You know, sometimes those receivers, they get back to the quarterback. Other times in a scramble drill, you get vertical. DK goes vertical, gets to the open area for the ball. Collins on first down with Jordan Fuller. And Great Gaines combining on stop at game 4. Here's the defense. As we said at the top, number 1 for the Rams last year. They're 27th this year. Overall, 21st against the rush. Second and 6, Collins. Pretty good run, a gain of 4. When you think about Russell Wilson. How about the LA Rams, that defensive front? On Sunday, they had to run around and try to catch Kyler Murray, and nobody's done that yet. And then with 4 days rest, they turn around and now they've got Russell Wilson, bringing his magic act and trying to get him to the ground, and he's making plays just like he did on Sunday in that win against San Francisco. It's 3rd down and 2. Down immediately is DJ Dallas by Leonard Floyd. He was out of line, no gain. It's 4th down. Well, they haven't got an answer yet for Leonard Floyd. That's the 3rd time now he's come off the edge and been able to make a play. He did earlier. He started out like he was running the crowd wide. 4th down. Some guys don't have the speed in order to track that on the backside. Leonard Floyd's not one of those guys. He certainly.
What's up, Trev?
See what else you're going to go for. 3 tight ends out there. Second time they've tried it on 4th down this season for a play action here. He's not going to get it. Aaron Donald was in there first, but he was one of many. And a loss of 1 on 4th and 2. Rams defense makes a stop. LA takes over, no score.
Introducing Domino's new 2-minute guarantee. Order Domino's car-side delivery. Check in when you arrive, and we'll be headed out the door less than 2 minutes after it's ready, or your next pizza is free.
I know, man. I'm going back and forth, too. This could be a good football game tonight. This is going to be a good football game, dude. And I'm watching baseball, too. I'm going for the Rays. Dude, I didn't realize the Rays have so many home run hitters. They've got 5 guys with 20 home runs. They have 5 guys with 20 home runs on that team. That's like crazy. How do they have 5 guys? They got 3 guys with 30 homers, and they only have a $61 million or $71 million payroll. I don't get it. They almost have the same output that the Yankees have, and they're better. It's like crazy. They're just such a well-run organization. All their money, man, everything. It's like, evaluating. They don't waste dough. And by the way, get this. That guy Kevin Cash, I mean, I really thought, Trev, I thought for sure, man, get this. What up, Steven? I thought for sure, man, that after Joe Madden left Tampa, I was like, okay, things going to crash. No way. Kevin Cash, man, he picked up right for Joe Madden. How can the Rays be a better run organization than the Yankees? It's crazy. Hey, you know what? I know this is going to sound sacrilegious. You're going to think this is crazy. Ready? I'll tell you what, man. If I were the Yankees, I would think about Jason Varitek being my manager. He's been in that, and you know what? He interviewed for that Red Sox gig, and it came down between Alex Cora and Jason Varitek. And by the way, Jason Varitek also interviewed for the Padres job, but he turned it down. Rays weren't spending money then like they are now. Steven, they do have a formula. They're called openers. They're never going to pay ever again for starting pitching. Steven, they're never going to pay for starting pitching. They may develop a guy to be a starter, but anytime their deals come up, and even if they are good, they'll deal them. Blake, David Price. It's all about bullpen for them. And bullpen guys are cheaper. Yeah, well, financially, they're cheaper. And it's being proven now you can win in baseball with a pen versus a starting rotation. Hey, you think those Seattle uniforms are a little bright? 2-0 already. Dude, look at that. Hey, you want to hear something crazy? I'm going to open with this, the radio show. So the Rays since 2019 are playing 6:15 baseball. That's incredible. Ozzie Guillen, though? I don't know if Ozzie could take that. I just don't know if Ozzie could. Yeah, really, if they fire Boone, I don't know. They're going to fire him. Yeah, but Steven, I know those guys. He's being told, but he's part of the process. That's not necessarily all the truth. Ozzie, I just don't know. Hey, Steven, he's part of the analytics. Okay? He's part of the decision-making process, just like Joe was. But there is a formula. You're correct. The Mets, dude. The freaking Mets, really? Who's the GM of the Mets? Is it what's his name still? Sandy Alderson? Sandy's a good baseball man. I like Sandy. Alderson's a good baseball man. Yes, I do. Good people there, talkers.
There was a bunch of feathers in the pool in the bird bath, little yellow feathers. I think he might have something to eat it. They weren't his feathers.
My wife's giving me a report. We had a hawk
In the bird bath.
in the bird bath, and we seemingly had a murder. And she's probably a little disappointed in that. I do know talkers. They used to name me to the top like 20 radio guys all the time. I really love those guys. Those guys are really good folks. And that's, hey, Steven, thank you. Michael's a good man. So is Kevin. I think his name is Kevin Kevin Casey. Kevin Casey's good people too. He's his number 2 guy there. Oh, all those guys are dear friends. Like they're talkers and Radio Inc. Are my friends too. And at All Access too. Michael Perry's a good man. That's nice of you, Stephen. Thank you. Oh, yes. And that magazine is a fan of mine. Talkers is a huge fan of mine. Matter of fact, you make me I can't. Hold on here. Nope. Are you there? I don't have to have that happen, Junior. I already feel tremendous about myself. Don't talk to me like I need comforting. I don't from you. Oh, really? That's all right. Hey, good pick on your White Sox. They got destroyed today. Zinger. No. Just there's two things you won't be. One's a fortune teller and one's a baseball prognosticator. I know this. Don't. Why do you always tell me shit that I know? That's right. That's why they call me Nostradamus. I mean, Nostradamus. Excuse me. Right. It's really a great day of baseball, though, isn't it? Oh, all right. How's it going, though, dog? No, I see this. I mean, what you just expressed to me, I'm like, man, I'm not sure. Really, I was just going to say, I'm not sure if I feel sorry for you or sad for you. No, because me being a Hurricane alumni, owning a couple championship rings, I feel awful good. Really? Yeah, they're nice. That's pretty cool. Thank you. Dude, man, tell me you don't think that the Seattle team kind of robbed it a little, just a little. Yeah, the Seahawks grabbed the Orlando Thunder gear a little. Let me see. Oh, yes, I see that. Oh, I do. Yeah, I see the Vancouver. Yeah. Of course, it's a picture of me destroying someone. My wife said to me, actually, Kim was my girlfriend at the time. She goes like this, and the guy that I'm playing against there is one of the largest. Dude, when he came at me, I was like this. He is, man. He's 6'7", and he was like 350 pounds. I kept looking over at my D-line coach going, this guy's the biggest dude I've ever seen. See, the NFL, it didn't go bankrupt or anything. They stopped it because of a strike. And I think they're going to, from what I hear, because of these new leagues starting up. By the way, man, if I had to rank the leagues of non-NFL leagues, I would say this to you. The AFL was by far the greatest. The USFL is right there with it. And then the World League was probably right there after that. And then the rest of them. World League was a great league, dude. Yeah, but there weren't Yeah. They still had like Kurt Warner and a bunch of folks that played in that thing. I'll tell you this, Chris, I had some of the funnest time. I played 1 year in that thing, and I liked it. I had a lot of fun. That's crazy. Where, Fort Worth? Oh, Vegas, yeah. Yeah, at the MGM. What a fun time that was. And, bro, I got a chance to play in all these arenas. It was really cool. Fun. Yeah, fun. Good evening, America. Dan Sileo, what a night to be an American. Fantastic sports world right now. It really is. I've been saying this to you for the last 2 weeks now, but there's so many super storylines, and there's so many great sports stories, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. I mean, football, and you got baseball playoffs going. I've been sitting in front of my television, and I do 2 shows a day. I do obviously this show. And by the way, welcome everybody who's come aboard with us here tonight on USA Radio Network and on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show, my Twitch page, and also on our YouTube. Steven just asked me, do you like the Arena Football League? Yes, I played in it for a year. I like it. Yes, we'll talk a little bit about that. I think there's no question. Football right now going on tonight. Seahawks and Rams. You got baseball earlier. The divisional rounds began. White Sox and the Astros. How about the Astros, man? Getting out to a great start. They end up taking down the White Sox earlier today. Now you have Rays and the Red Sox going. Then you got the National League part of that going. And you're sitting around just watching sports all day long. That's what I'm doing. My earlier show, I do a streaming football show, and then we talk general sports here and general anything here, actually. And I was just talking to everybody. It's so great now, man. I know that baseball is not front and center like it used to be when I was a kid. What happened to baseball? Man, I'm telling you, American sports was centered in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And all of a sudden, after the strike, baseball lost its grip on the American sports public. You know why? They lost their trust in the sport. We all grew up with baseball. Major League Baseball, that game last night, by the way, Dodgers and Cardinals, that wild card game was freaking awesome. Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium, it was awesome. I watched every second of it. And for the first time, Dodger fan didn't leave like they did during the Gibson home run. You ever want to see something really freaky and you ever want to know what Dodger fan is really all about? Next time you watch the Kirk Gibson home run that he hit off Eckersley in Game 1 of the World Series, do me a favor. Take a look behind Eckersley or when the home run is hit, and you'll see every single car in Dodger Stadium's parking lot hit the brakes. They hit the brakes because everybody started piling out of the stadium. People were leaving. I didn't think Kirk Gibson was going to hit that home run. Eckersley was insane great that year. I think he won the Cy that year. I mean, he was so unbelievable. And then he hits that home run. He never plays another inning in that series, and the Dodgers go on and upset the Bash brothers and the Oakland Athletics in that World Series. That's what makes baseball so good. But baseball lost its grip on the American sports public after that 94 strike. They completely lost their grip for whatever reason. America never forgave baseball for that. And then what started to happen, the NFL really started understanding what the American public wanted. And what happened is that The NFL started getting the water cooler talk. Like, we used to sit around when we were kids. Hey, did you see that series over the weekend, Red Sox and Yankees? Did you see what Fisk and Munson were saying to one another? Holy cow, they've got the Twins coming up. Rod Carews coming into town. There used to be so many great personalities in baseball. And they were promoted by sports media people. Now they're not. Like, can you give me the number one guy in sports today in Major League Baseball that has a personality where you all go like this? Wow, man. Like, even guys like Big Papi are not in the game right now. When I grew up, Pete Rose, Reggie, okay, Tom Seaver, okay, Steve Carlton, Thurman Munson, right? I mean, they were everywhere in baseball. The Dodger team with Garvey and all them dudes. Dusty Baker, by the way, it was great to see Baker. I love Dusty, and I'll give you a story here in a second about my time with Dusty Baker. I love hanging out with Dusty. I got a chance to know Dusty Baker when he was the manager of the San Francisco Giants. I worked on the flagship station. I actually used to do a post-game show for the San Francisco Giants. And let me tell you this, man, it was just nothing but a bunch of fun talking to Dusty. You know what he would do when I would walk into the locker room? You'll love this, man. I'd walk into the locker room, and I always made a beeline for Bonds. Oh, yeah, and you know what? They always had Jeff Kent. Jeff Kent's the biggest racist I've ever been around in baseball, unfortunately. And what they all used to try to do, or what he used to try to do, is divide the locker room and make Bonds the a-hole. And it was never really true. It was covered differently because Bonds was a surly dude. Jeff Kent was a guy who, without a question, played on that too and divided. That's why the Giants dumped his ass. Because Kent was that guy. Kent went to Cal. He's a local guy. He was just such a cancer in a locker room. I know, it sounds funny. You mean Bonds? No, I mean Jeff Kent. He was terrible. I was always on Bonds' side. Always. I couldn't stand Jeff Kent. And every time he saw me coming, he'd walk right by me, and I wouldn't give him the time of day. And then when I got on the air, I'd dog him. And he knew it. Finally, he comes up to me and says something, and he asked me, and I stood up. Bonds was standing there. I forget who else was there, too. And Dusty was watching this. I said, dude, man, I see you whispering in corners all the time. I know how a locker room works. I've been in professional locker rooms my whole life, bro. You don't talk to me like that. You think I'm one of those stiffs over there? Oh, we got almost into a pushing match inside the Giant locker room. Larry Bear and all those guys loved me because they knew that, Brian Sabian, who was the general manager at the time, all those guys knew how much I loved Bonds. And they couldn't take it. And I called them out on it. I said, this guy, he's not very well liked, in my opinion, inside that locker room. And so Dusty called me in. He goes, man, I can't believe you talked to Kent like that. Nobody in our locker room talks to Kent like that because they're afraid of him. I go, yeah, because he throws a race card around. That's the dynamic inside that locker room, which was, and I'm talking mostly about Dusty here. So Dusty goes like this. Every time you walk into my locker room from now on, do me a favor, come over to my office first. I'll tell you how Bonds is doing. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, you trust me, you'll know what I mean. I walk in one day, Bonds sees my national championship ring. I was insecure. I wore it a lot then. Now I don't. And so I walked into the locker room, and Bonds saw my title ring. Oh, man, that's great. Wow. Really, wow, man, it's unbelievable. But the next day, Bonds would act like he's never met me. I couldn't understand it. And then Dusty goes, now you get what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So then what I did was I'd walk in. I'm sitting in Dusty's office, and Dusty would go like this. Dusty used to come on with me all the time doing the post-game show. And you know what? If you root for one guy to win a World Series ring, it's him. He screwed up his entire legacy in that Angels and Giants series. Man, Bonds hit like 460-something in that series. And there was Dusty again being a jackass with the pitching staff. It's always been a crux of his on how he handles the pitching staff. He's no Tommy Lasorda, let's just say that, or he's no Sparky Anderson. And even, to some extent, even Joe Torre, but Torre had Stoudemire on the bench. I never thought Dusty handled the pitching staffs correctly. And it's always been an Achilles heel in his managing style. Even when he was in the Nationals, dugout and you had Scherzer and Strasburg in your dugout and you couldn't win a series. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Come on. So I'm sitting in there talking. We're jacking around. Bonds would walk in. Hey, man, how you doing? I say, hey, Barry, how you doing, man? Hey, you want to talk? I go, yeah, I'd love to. So I go over. He goes, how come you go into Dusty's office now? I go, well, I got to talk to somebody that's, even keel. He goes, are you saying I'm not even keel? Barry, I was talking about me. Why are you so insecure? He started laughing. Everyone in the locker room started laughing. I go, I got to talk to somebody that's even keel. He goes, are you saying I'm not even keel? I go, no, I'm talking about me. Don't be so insecure, dude. and he would come on my show. Bonds was so amazing. I don't think I ever showed up to Candlestick Park with my wife to watch a game and Bonds didn't steal a base or hit a home run. And you just root for Dusty. He's such a great player's manager. Watching him manage, and he's obviously in the back nine of his managing career, and he's got this Astros team. This Astros team truly has a chance to win the World Series. I think a lot of teams have a chance to win the World Series. But Dusty is such a good man, almost to a fault, because, you fall in love with your guys. You protect your guys. You stick up for your guys. And sometimes your guys let you down. And Dusty's managing style has always been in that same kind of scenario where, always handling the pitching staff has always been an issue for him. I root for him. By the way, this Seattle game tonight versus the Rams is pretty big. Okay, it's pretty big for both teams. You've got the Rams. This is a divisional game too. Rams just got their faces kicked in by the Cardinals the week previous. You can't drop another one. And if you're Seattle, you can't go down a couple games in this division, because this division, you may have 3 teams come out of that division and go into the playoffs. We'll talk more about that. As I'm watching and talking, all this great stuff going on tonight. I'm watching Red Sox and Rays, and I'm kind of going back and forth, right? I'm going back and forth between both and watching the ALDS here. So let me throw this at you here. Okay. Since 2019, the Tampa Bay Rays, with a $71 million payroll, is playing .615 baseball. How's that possible? How is it possible they got 5 guys on that baseball team that have hit 20-plus home runs? They go get Nelson Cruz, and I'm like, okay. They go get Nelson Cruz, and Kristen Meyer just said he hit a home run. Okay, so you get Nelson Cruz, you add it to that mix. A couple of years back, I covered the Rays for 15 years when they were even called the Devil Rays. And they got a kid by the name of Cliff Floyd. Everyone had given up on him. Guy goes into the Rays organization, and guess what? This guy has a magical second half, and before you know it, the Rays are in the series versus the Phillies. And you're like, Jesus Christ, how do they do it? I thought when Joe Madden left, that was going to be an absolute cold sore on that franchise. No way. Kevin Cash has turned out to be one of the best managers in baseball, if not the best manager in baseball. How do they do it? What a structure. If you're the Red Sox, if you're the Dodgers, if you're the Yankees, how in the world do you look at yourselves and go, what are we doing here? You want to know what the true Moneyball team is? It's not the Oakland A's with Billy Beane. It's the Tampa Bay Rays, because they actually get the World Series. Incredible. It's incredible. I'll tell you why this game's important tonight. And for which team? Rams and Seahawks. We'll do it next. Jeff Kent's the biggest racist I've ever been around in my life, and he was openly racist. Oh, I could believe that. Oh, Kent would use the N word in the dugout. I heard, not in the dugout. He would not do it in the dugout, but in the locker room with his guys, he had dropped it a few times. And Bonds called him out on it, but Bonds again is an asshole. So everybody in the media always took Kent's side. Kent went to Cal, and in the Bay Area, they always sided with Kent until they realized what a dick he was. I had a really good relation. You know who really loved Bonds? You know who really loved Bonds? Was Tony Gwynn. What was that called? Cashman Field? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is what. Go ahead. So this music maker, damn, what's the MLB? Damn, what? That's why the MLB wants to move the Rays to Vegas. It's embarrassing. ESPN favorite team is the Yankees and Red Sox. And you know what, Chris? To your point here, listen to this. The Yes Network guys get so pissed off at ESPN putting the Yankees on because they supposedly are the exclusive team for the they're the exclusive team for the Yankees, the S Network, right? The S Network has to constantly battle ESPN, and so does Nesson with the Red Sox because those are exclusive. They don't like a bunch of those games being put on ESPN. That's right, Chris. St. Clair, that's a Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Welcome aboard with us. We got a bunch of folks with us here on our social media platforms. If you'd like to join us that way, please do. I'll tell you something that I love listening to my guy, Chris O, who's in my ear all the time, and he's my guy, and he runs the show. He's such a baseball guy. But aren't we all? We all grew up on this thing. And we all made our off ramps to other sports. I won't lie to you. My historical background in sports, if you were to ask me what I know more, I've never been really asked that question. Dan, if you were going to pick a sport and your knowledge of the sport, I'll say this. The knowledge of the sport I know is football. Okay? Because I know the techniques. But if you ask me historically, it'd be baseball, and it ain't close. It ain't close. I can name you lineups. You know that baseball reference? There used to be a book. Now you can go on the internet and you can pretty much Google any baseball stars pass and you can see all those numbers. I used to cut out Roger Maris and Dick Allen and Sandy Koufax and put them in my favorite book, those baseball reference guides. I used to. And my grandmother would go, it's a book of numbers. I said, it's a book of history. I learned about the game of baseball from baseball's reference guide. That's how I learned it. I learned baseball that way. That's how I learned the sport. And it was without a doubt my favorite growing up. I so loved it. I really did. I just loved the sport. And I grew up watching the sport. I grew up understanding the historical backgrounds of, because we were having a conversation last night about, Mays. Isn't it crazy? I mean, baseball makes you go back and you're talking about, teams that came from nowhere to win a series. 69 Mets did it, They go from worst to first. That whole team. You know what's crazy? Do you know who ended up really actually building the Mets into a championship team in 69? It was Casey Stengel back in the 60s, and it was Weiss, who was the general manager of the Yankees during the 50s. And he was the guy that brought Marison. He was the guy that developed Mantle. He was the guy that went out and found, there was this guy named Weiss, who was the GM of the Yankees. He ends up losing his job, and he ends up going over to New York, and he starts the Mets. Well, they brought in Gil Hodges later on to manage the team. Casey put all the starting pitching. They went through pitching. They ended up landing Seaver. They ended up getting all the, if you remember right too, early 60s, the Mets had all the old Dodger guys on the team. And it was really a well-run organization. Just tremendous. Love talking baseball and love watching baseball. That's why this Rays team, I'm trying to think in baseball history, who would you compare the Rays to? The Miracle Mets. Now they've got to close the deal. Mets had no payroll back then, and yet they had Nolan Ryan on the pitching staff, Tom Seaver, Jerry Kuzman, right? They were winning games with Ed Kranepool on first base, Ed Charles on third base, Grody behind the plate. They made a move for Don Clendenin from the White Sox, put him in the outfield. I mean, it's crazy how great. Ron Swoboda and Wright. I grew up with all this. I used to always wonder, how does that Met team do it? I'm wondering the same thing about this. I'm wondering the same thing about this Rays. I don't know how they do it. They're better this year than they were a year ago, and they got rid of Schnell. How's that possible? Oh, it's a great football game going on, too. I got to hit on it. Seahawks and Rams, really a big game. We'll do it next. You keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. Oh, darn it. Hold on for a second. No, I just texted my wife and said the rabbit's back. Yeah, I got a rabbit. Okay, so we've had a hawk here in my water feeder earlier before I went on, and now the rabbit has showed up. No, big seals don't swim with sharks. I am a shark, bitch. Oh my God! Did it hit the? It must have hit the second ring. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the C ring, second ring. Yep. I used to go like this when I was on the air. I used to call it the Fruit Dome, and so finally the Rays called up Clear Channel. You don't know this, but iHeart owns 5% of the Rays. Okay, and I didn't know this. And I'm ripping on Vince Namoli, who sucked as the owner of the team. He just sucked. And my wife and I hated the guy too, but we pretended to like him, right? So finally, man, this guy named Dave Reinhardt, a legendary radio guy. comes walking in, and Dan DiLoretto come walking in, and they go like this to me: "Hey, I'm going to tell you something you don't know. We own a percentage of the team, and Tropicana pays a lot of money for the naming rights to the to Tropicana Field. Please stop calling it the Fruit Dome or the Tin Can." And I'm going like this. No, it wasn't the tin can; it's the trash can. And so they were like, "Just don't do it." And we know you're a Yankee fan, but can you please not? So, yeah, yes. Oh, it's fact. No, 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 no. When the Yankees show up still to the Trop, they get 40,000 in there. Yankee fans. Now, listen. If the Yankees and Rays are playing in the postseason, it'll be all Ray fans. But during the regular season, dude, it's still the Yankees are a massive, because you know why? Their minor league team is right there on Dale Mabry. It's right there on Dale Mabry. That ballpark, by the way, is so awesome. It's a smaller version of Yankee Stadium. Steinbrenner made it that way. Yes, that's what they are. That's Do you know why they did that, Yankee Stadium? Why they did that? Can I tell you why? Okay, because when you play in the outfield in Tampa, they built that stadium so when the outfielders are seeing the same shadows that they see at Yankee Stadium when they go up to the big club. So they built it that you see the same shadows and you deal with the same shadows when you get up to New York. And the Fenway's does the same thing. The caroms off the wall. I've played at that. I played a Connie Mack baseball game up there, and dude, you would be shocked how many dents are on that wall out there. You'd be shocked. I mean, it doesn't look like it on TV, but that thing looks like somebody took a shotgun to it. There's so many dents in the Fenway Green Monster, and the Yankees have that braille out there because one of their kids was blind, and it's still out there. The Yankees, the name of the husband and wife, are still out there on the scoreboard. It's pretty cool. Thank you. Bank. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. I don't think I could ever bore anybody with baseball. Baseball is a walk-in historical part of our country. I don't know. Do you think people today respect the history of sports? Or do you think they respect more the gratification of what it brings today? And what I mean by that is, see, I like the people that the shoulders you stand on and what that sport was built on. Look, let's look at football, for instance. Do you know, like 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe towards the end of the 50s, okay? Do you know that most of the superstar college athletes, they didn't go into the NFL? Because that was more like a circus. It was more like WWE. There was not a lot of respect for professional football players. But if you were a collegiate and you were a college star, you were like on the cover of Life. Life was huge back in the day. I mean, if you made the cover of Life, Time's probably taken that mantra of being like, if you're on the cover of Time, that's a big deal, right? But back in the day, if you were on the cover of Life magazine, that was like the Holy Grail. How many times you see baseball guys back in that era? When you hit the cover of Life, you were like, man, Jesus, wow. You never saw football players on it. You always saw baseball players, boxers on it, right? Maybe even a horse. Because in the golden age of sports, which is the 20s, it was boxing, horse racing, and baseball. And there was nothing else. Our country was built on those three sports. Football didn't become, professionally at least, didn't become anything really until the 60s. Nobody revered superstar player. Really, probably the guy that put it front and center was Namath. We all kind of started hearing about this guy, Jim Brown, but Namath was the guy who put television and football together and brought it into your living room. That's why the significance of Namath is so important. It's not his stats, it's the game he played in. Obviously, Super Bowl III, when they upset the Colts, but it was Namath with the girls and, you know, coming from Alabama, playing for Bear Bryant, winning a couple national championships. And there he was on television. That's Joan. When I was a kid growing up, do you know who the stars were? You know, when Seaver died, man, that was a big deal to me. When Tom Seaver died, because when I was a kid growing up and I was in the New York area, it was Tom Seaver and Joe Namath. And if you want, Walt Frazier, Knicks were okay. Knicks won a couple championships when I was a kid, unlike it is today in New York sports. Hey, if the Jets and Giants win on the same weekend, it's a big deal like they did this past weekend. That's a big deal. I mean, but get this. When I was a kid, the Yankees sucked. The Mets were the team. 69 and 73. They went to the series. Seaver was on that team. He was a freaking enormous star in New York. Tom Seaver was everything. And I used to, you know, sneak and watch the WOR broadcast with the Mets and Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner. I used to sit there and listen to those guys and watch it. My folks would come in. I changed the channel. What happened? That's Mets. No, but seriously, man, they were really a good ball team, man. These guys were enormous stars. And baseball, like, you know, it's clearly, after that strike, man, it's changed. I don't know what happened. Like, the storylines this year, Shohei Ohtani with the Angels, that's a great story, right? Two teams winning 100 games in the National League West. And you know what here? Can I help somebody out here? Can I help Fox out for a second? So Fox is going around parading, telling everybody that the Giants and the Dodgers have never met in the postseason. You must have forgotten 1951. Okay? But that's not the promo. That's not the promo. The Giants and the Dodgers have met. 51 was a postseason game. Both teams tied at the end of the regular season. So, I see. So Dodger and Giant history only began in 60. That's kind of our society today, though. Do you know that the Giants and Dodgers have been in California a lesser time than the history of that entire franchise? Do you understand that, right? A baseball franchise is over 100 years old. Both of them. Oh, yes, but that's right. It started in 1959, 60, whatever year it was when they came out here. By the way, do you know the reason that the Dodgers were able to move out to California? They had to convince the Giants to move too. If the Giants didn't decide to move, they wouldn't have had the Dodgers. The Dodgers couldn't move. You're not going to have one team in Los Angeles. They had to make it a road trip with two teams. So they had to move them out of the Polo Grounds, the Giants, and then they had to turn around and move, obviously. And get this, Walter O'Malley wanted a baseball stadium next to the train station. And the city of New York said no. They wanted it where Shea ended up. That's the story of how those teams got out here. City of New York, the planner, I forget his name. He wanted it in this place. The O'Malleys wanted it near the train station where everybody in Brooklyn could get to it. It was an old warehouse. And they said no. And so O'Malley was given the land by the city of Los Angeles. And that's how the Dodgers, but the Dodgers had to convince the Giants to move out. Those two franchises are so instrumental in West Coast baseball that you have no idea how important it was. Then the Padres came. Then the Seattle Pilots came. Then the Mariners came. Then the Angels came. I said the Padres. Then you added the Rockies. Then you added the Diamondbacks. It was all because of Dodgers and Giants. Can you imagine this? There was no West Coast you know what West Coast baseball was until 1959? The Cardinals. That was West Coast baseball. But what happened to that sport? Why did the American public all of a sudden? Is it because you think it's too boring and too long? Like I tell you, I won't lie to you. I don't play golf as much as I used to back in the day. You know, I actually don't play at all. I think it's a little bit boring, and it takes too much time. Nobody has 4 hours of disposable time like that nowadays, right? Maybe you play 9 holes. I don't know. You know, because baseball's the only sport that really doesn't have a clock, right? And so you really have to love the game. But I think you fall in love with a sport knowing the history of the game. That's always been something important to me. For me, knowing the history of how the NFL started. You know what the name of the Chicago Bears were? They were called the Chicago Staleys. And George Halas, who went to the University of Illinois, was a 3-time All-American at the University of Illinois, actually. This was the guy that founded the NFL. And he went around, got a bunch of rich buddies of his, and they started a league. They needed a team in Green Bay. That you all know. Do you notice everything was pretty centered and pretty close to one another? Okay, right? The Giants, the Bears, the Packers, the Lions. Do you know what the Fords did? The Fords thought it would be a good idea to have a local football. They thought it was more of a club, the Lions. That's why if you ever see the old emblems, the Detroit Lions Club, you know, like club rugby and all that? That's why all those old signs said club. It wasn't considered professional because professional scared people off. Think of that. Because nobody really liked professional football back then. They loved professional baseball. Ruth was so instrumental in it, obviously. Brought the sport front and center. They had a star. Nobody likes to see singles and base hits. They like to see the long ball. Hell, they love to see it back in the day. You know what's funny about the Yankees? The Yankees have been trading for superstars since 1920s. The Yankees they buy the World Series. They've been doing it since the 20s. You make it sound like they're doing something different. That's a staple of New York Yankee baseball. Hey, you don't want to pay them? We will. Okay? We'll take them. But I don't think the sports fans today care about the history as much as they did, like my generation did. I'll tell you this. Chris O, my guy, you want to start talking baseball, man? This guy starts throwing stats at you. He knows winners of series. He gives you managers. He gives you this. Football, yeah, you know, he likes it. Baseball, though, we're all like that in a way. Maybe it's my generation. I don't think the kids today look at baseball because when I grew up, I don't see the ballparks filled like it was when I was a kid. You know, I would play I would play baseball during the summertime. I'd get up in the morning and my buddies and I would go over to a baseball park. We'd get there around 7:30 and we'd leave at 7:30 at night. We'd play baseball all day, every day. There wasn't a summer I didn't do that. I must have played 12 hours of baseball every day. 3 or 4 games we'd play. I mean, like catcher's gear, right? I mean, like we would play baseball. We'd wear the gear, everything. fast pitching and everything. Nobody's throwing lobs or anything like that. And I must have I don't see that today. I see kids playing soccer. I see, I see softball, maybe some, but I don't see baseball. Maybe that's what it is that they don't really endear the game and they don't really push the sport like they used to push the sport when I was a kid, because I really enjoyed. Really, when I grew up, that's all I did was I didn't play football until I got to high school. Sure. I was Reggie. No, I batted right-handed. I was a right-handed Reggie Jackson. But then you know what it would be, Chris? Sometimes it would be this. I'd be Reggie, or I would be Mickey Mantle, or I would be somebody like Dick Allen. It would just depend what really caught my eye, whatever baseball card was in front of me. If it was like a really, a Henry Aaron or somebody like that, I would really study the stats and how they swung, and I would take pictures and cut them out of magazines. And I would practice batting stances, Mickey Rivers' batting stance, or Munson's batting stance, or Pinella's batting stance, or Carlton Fisk, or Jim Rice. I would do. I like Jim Rice's. He was just great. How about this, man? In 1975, Fred Lynn, who follows me on Twitter, believe it or not, finished first in the Rookie of the Year voting and won the MVP in his rookie year and won the batting championship. And Rice finished third. So they had him and Rice. And, dude, when I was a kid, like I said, George Scott played first base, Dewey Evans in right field. You had Lynn out in the outfield. Bernie Carbo played. I mean, Fisk behind the plate. You had Louis T on the hill. Man, and then the Yankees were great, too. Those were the teams that I grew up with, man. Hey, Chris, I don't know what happened to baseball, but it's just not the same when it comes to the public, when it comes to the public's love of sports. Yeah, but let me throw water on that to you, and you're right, because the '98, I used to stop with my wife because we were in the Bay Area, and anytime McGuire came to came to bat, you did, because he was traded the year previous from the A's to the Cardinals, and then the next year him and Sosa went after it. But then 3 years later, they start throwing water on it with PEDs, and before you know it, you urinated on all of that great stuff that was going on with all of baseball. And the fans went, okay, so we come out of a strike, and now we got a steroid scandal in the sport. Those are the two things that really hurt baseball, man, was the strike and the PED scandal. And baseball shot themselves in the foot on this. I got to get to this game tonight, NFL-wise. We'll do it next. Spike, I got baseball cards behind me, behind my desk, that I must have 5,000. Yep, San Diego native, Alan Trammell. That's correct. Man, what a you know who Ryan Sandberg reminds me of? Jeter. And I'll tell you why. I'm talking personality. You know why? Very, very, very quiet, but when he got on the diamond, guy was magic, man. Ryan Sandberg and Jeter played a lot alike. Jeter was better, but I mean, just I would say in my lifetime, when it comes to Cubs, I would say that Banks, obviously, but I would also go then Sandberg has to be second. Ron Santo's in that conversation too. Chicago loves Ron Santo. Um, they loved Sosa. I wouldn't doubt it. He was on that broadcast team forever. I can't believe that Brenneman said all those things. Really? He faked it with me then. Oh man, that's such a dick. Oh, that's crazy. I hate that. Sure, that went over well. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. I could go on and on about baseball. I really couldn't. I just do more of it here. But there's a football game on tonight. And I'll tell you why the significance of this game is important. It's not just for the standings. Russell Wilson's got to figure out, by the way, I'll tell you what, man, him and Brady, with Giselle, Russell Wilson has Sierra. Whew, I got to hand it to those two. They are superstar people. Sierra is a megastar. Giselle is a world-famous star model. And they follow their guys to Seattle, to Boston, to Tampa. I give it to them. And if you're Russell Wilson, you're sitting up in Seattle. Look at this place, too. It's packed tonight. I love the fact that the stadium is packed. You've got to look around the room and go like this if you're Russell Wilson. Hey, man, after this year, Pete Carroll's 70 years old. Pete Carroll's 70 years old next year. Why would I stay here? Let me go and do what Tom Brady did. Let me find a place in an organization that's going to give a you-know-what about me. And I mean give a you-know-what about me when it comes to winning. Russell Wilson is the fastest quarterback to 100 wins of any quarterback in the history of the game over a 10-year period. That includes Peyton Manning. That includes Tom Brady. He's the fastest to 100 wins. And you're not going anywhere. You don't generate enough offense. They're not building the football team around you. I think he's going to be one of the quarterbacks that are going to be on the move. I mean, what has Seattle done? Look, their defense is not the same. It's not the Legion of Boom any longer. They don't run the ball well. They sit around and wait for him to make plays. Okay, that's great. You're paying him a boatload of money. And so I understand that. But for me, if that's me, I go like this. Well, if you're not going to if you're not going to start supporting me, I'm going to do what Tom Brady did. I'm going to find a landing spot. I don't know. Maybe that's Denver. Maybe that's Chicago. But I'm also going to have my wife's feelings and her input into this because she's also a superstar. Does that mean Vegas? Well, they got Derek Carr there. So you mean to tell me you don't think John Gruden would want Russell Wilson over Derek Carr? Guys, it's no disrespect to Derek Carr, but if you give me a better person and you give me somebody that can make my team win, I don't know how you don't do this. And it's no disrespect. You got to remember something about professional sports or anything professionally. If I can upgrade something and I can get the best person and the best people to move my product and to help me win, it's nothing personal. It's strictly business. Why wouldn't you do it? Well, Derek Carr's really – he's not Russell Wilson, folks. He's not Russell Wilson. So you truly have to start looking at it through the eyes of winning. Hey, Matthew Stafford in Los Angeles. You know, Matthew Stafford in Detroit, you know what he did? Put up a lot of numbers, threw for a lot of yards, had no wins, really, of any significance that I could ever remember. I think he's been in the playoffs like once or twice. I don't know. I've talked more about Matthew Stafford in the last month than I have in his entire career, and that even goes back to his time at Georgia. And I say this to you, and again, it's no disrespect, but a game like this tonight, Rams and Seahawks, it's not just about the standings, which, by the way, the NFC West is a sensational division. I think actually the AFC West is also a sensational division. But I would say this to you, man. I'm like, okay, man, you lose tonight, and I'm talking Wilson and the Seahawks. Why would you stay? And stop with that loyalty stuff. I'm loyal to myself. First and foremost, I play a team sport for sure. And when I'm on the field, we do it together. But I've also got to look at what's best for me. Sounds selfish? So what, you think you should just sit in a place and let the organization let you rot like Dan Fouts or Phillip Rivers? I don't think that's justice either. All right, so much going on. We'll reset, and you keep it right here on the Dan Sileo Show. Thank you. Bad boy. 286, 23 homers, 62 RBIs going into the Cape Cod League, bitch. Who said I was nice? You're under some illusion that I'm some nice guy or something. Street tough. One thing you'll never, ever, ever have to understand something here, boy. Dan's not a fake tough guy. Look. Hooterville. Shut up. Hey, play action real. Who said I'm a nice guy? Kind of nice. Give me a break. Boy. I got your boy. Shut the fuck up. Father O'Malley. Yeah, you were probably playing Hide the Peanut. Great time to be an American. Great time in sports. Your boy Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Thanks for coming aboard. What a night. Oh, yes. And all of you out there that cover politics, you must hate your lives. I love what's going on in my world. You know, those are reality and real life things that are going on, Dan. Don't you have any carry what's going on with none? No, I don't, because you guys are all stupid and you bitch at each other every day. I don't do that. I sit around here with Play Action Real or Stephen Clark or Ken or anybody who's on my social media platforms. By the way, welcome aboard there as well. Twitter, at Dan Sileo Show, my Twitch page, and also on my YouTube channel. Joining us here on USA Radio Network and our fine affiliates across the country. Thank you. I don't have to do this. Well, get vaccinated. Not get vaccinated. Elections are rigged. Who talks like that, man? Dude, man. I just had something said in my ear that I can't repeat, so I'm going to leave it there, okay? Because you see, you don't understand something. No. You see, Chris has got... You got to remember something, though, about Chris. You see, he's not just a guy running my show. He's the guy on our network. Okay? So, yeah, he has that autonomy. I don't. Okay? So, congratulations to you, Chris. That's very good, man. I know, man. It's all good. We're all on the same page here and all the same team here, man. It's all good. But this is, you know what, again, I told you guys this a long time ago. I had a chance to do political talk, and I was like, and I still get asked to do it. My friend Sid Rosenberg, who's on WABC in New York, has asked me to go on and do some stuff. I go, nah, man, if I start doing that, then, you know, and As a matter of fact, Clay Travis has now gotten into it. He's doing the Rush Limbaugh time slot now. And I asked him, how do you feel about doing it? You want to know what he told me? And please know that I love Clay Travis. You know what he says? Damn, dude. Sometimes I get off the air and I don't know. I feel a little dirty. And I'm like, you should, man. You should. Because, bitching and hollering at people all day long because they're either liberal or conservative, I think it's kind of dopey. I like Americans. I don't care what your party is or your affiliation is. If you root for America, we're friends. If you hate America, I hate you. Plain and simple. And I'm not one of the people that say, if you don't like America, love it or leave it. You have every right to say and do whatever you want. I'm not one of the people who tell you how to live your life. Right? I'm not pro-choice or, pro-life. I don't do that. It's not my deal, man. It's just not my deal. I am a card-carrying American. Republican, Democrat. Chris and I are the same on that. We root for red, white, and blue, dude. Some maybe subtle differences, but we root for red, white, and blue. You know what red, white, and blue is to me? When I watch Americans here in Seattle watching a football game or in Tampa watching a baseball game with Red Sox and Rays, two different areas of the country, one progressive, one conservative. Tampa's kind of conservative, depending on who's running for the White House. Again, the I-4 corridor will always dictate the state when it comes to a 4-year election, right? We all know that. It's not really Miami that dictates who ends up winning that state. It's the I-4 corridor from Orlando to Tampa. Whoever wins that corridor wins the state. It's been that way since Bush won, 41. So, right? But I love the fact we're watching fans in the stands. I wonder how that goes with MSNBC and CNN and some of these other, and even Fox to a certain extent. Seeing all the fans in the stands with no mask on, that must piss everyone off. And by the way, again, I'm not even going to talk about my government. I'm going to talk more about the media. You know why they hate that? Because they can't sell hate with that. Because it's Republicans and Democrats and independents in the same stadium. And you can't divide a stadium. You cannot. I don't see a mask in the building. Don't talk to me about mandates for Christmas. It doesn't match up here. Hey, this weekend, when you watch college football, when you watch Iowa, Penn State, and you don't see anybody wearing a mask, Iowa, right? That's a big deal, Iowa, when it comes to the 4-year elections, right? You're not going to see anybody with a mask. Now, how do you turn around on Monday and Anthony Fauci tells us we have to wear a mask when nobody in the stadium at Kinnick Stadium, 75,000 fans, not anybody is wearing one in the building. You can't tell me they're all vaccinated. And for the record, football's been going on now for how long? How long has football been going on this year? Beginning of September, right? I have not heard any breakouts in any of these states. Americans are fed up with it. So you know what Americans' release is? Sports. Tropicana Field tonight is packed. Nobody's got a mask on. Seattle, packed. Nobody's got a mask on. The only idiots that have a mask tonight are, guess who? The media. You know why? Because they sell hate and fear. Don't let them do that to you. Chris was just talking. Election conspiracies and voodoo dolls and all these other guys. And this, sports doesn't do that. You can't change the goal. You can't change the goalpost in our sandbox. You just can't. Winners, losers. We root for our team. Our communities have civic pride for these teams. I've said that before. It's the only place where you can get 80,000 fans, and nobody cares what your political or your ideological religious beliefs are or any of that stuff. Nobody cares. When I'm sitting next to a fan and we're sitting at a stadium, no matter where this great stadium is in our country, nobody talks to you about politics. How many times have you gone to a game where somebody starts talking politics to you when you're rooting for your favorite team and you're sitting there and you're talking about the Dolphins or you're talking about the Seahawks or the Rams or the Yankees or the Rays or the Red Sox? Nobody does that. That's why sports kind of does this. It's the reality and it's a microcosm of our society. These stadiums are small microcosms of our society. They tell us what actually is going on. The politicians are like used car salesmen. They're liars, like the media. I don't know who's worse. Because listen, watch this. I'm going to show you something here. I'll bore you with one, and then I'll frighten you with another. You ready? Watch this. Boy, I'll tell you something. It's really great to see everybody in the stands, isn't it, tonight? It's really wonderful. Or how about this one? How can people sit in a stadium not wearing masks, knowing that we have a pandemic out there that is killing people around the world? How could you do that to your fellow American? What's more going to get your ear? What I just said or before? It's Facebook, and I learned something, folks, from those hearings on Facebook. Okay? Our political people are like algorithms. They know fear keeps you glued in to watching and listening more, okay, than just telling you the reality of what is going on in front of you. And most of the time, it's good. Americans, for the most part, in my opinion, are great folks. There's always 10 dudes in a room that are jackasses. But algorithms, listen to me here. Facebook has made billions of dollars scaring you on a platform because they have found out it keeps you engaged. You don't think these news shows and these progressive radio shows and these news talk shows don't know that? They go after your fear. Hey, if you scare somebody, you're going to listen more than you are if you're going to hear a good story. Like, watch this. You want to know why you don't cover Tim Duncan or cover Warwick Dunn? Warwick Dunn creating homes for single moms because his mother was shot and killed. She was a police officer in Louisiana. Nobody covers Warwick Dunn and what a great job that he's done for the last 25 years in building a home for single moms. That's not a good story. And I mean that in a way when it comes to a news source story. But you know what the story is for news people? The gun. The gun is a political talking point. The gun is a talking point for conservatives and for liberals. It's not the act, it's the gun. It's why we don't cover Tim Duncan. You know what's really been really sad this whole time? What's really sad is how come we don't have more of the first responders and the nurses and the doctors who have been dealing with COVID on these news shows or even on the radio shows? Why aren't you putting them on? Those are heroes. I know that our government right now is making them and mandating them. They're taking their jobs away, which is insane, especially in a time when our country needs to put people to work. How could you take jobs away from people who are saving people's lives? Makes no sense. You sat in front of people dying for 2 years. And the federal government's going to come in and tell you that you're going to lose your job because you're not vaccinated. I don't even know how to go there, and I'm not going to because it's a hater story. I don't like doing hater stories, but I don't get it. We don't put those folks on. You know who we put on? Conspiracy theory on elections. People who are talking about mask mandates or non-mask mandates. Those are the people we put on. Why? Because Facebook is right. Wow. You know something? I learned a lot this week by those congressional hearings about how the media works and how these platforms work. Mark Zuckerberg has made billions of dollars frightening Americans. You got to remember something about him. This was a guy who got the idea of Facebook from Hot or Not when he was in Harvard. Remember that? Hot or Not? You would click one chick versus another chick. That's how he got the idea for Facebook. And now he's mastered our fears. We're sports, baby. You can't divide it. You can't divide it. How are these Rays doing it every year? We'll do it next. You keep it here on the Sileo Show. Thank you. You all right? What happened, Chris? Okay. I get it. Thank you. Wow. Why are you out of breath? Why are you out of breath? Oh, God. And not the donut you eat, right? Oh, God. All right, Chris. That's all right. I got it, Chris. Chris, I got it. I got it. Chris, I haven't eaten dinner yet. Good. I'm glad to hear that, brother. Yeah, but you saved it in the end. I'm kind of an epileptic too, though. Right. Wrap it up, dog. Wrap it up. That's what I say too. Right. JT's a good dude. No, he's a good dude, man. JT Snow's a good dude. I liked him. Joe Morgan. Oh, John Miller, sensational broadcaster. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. No. Well, got somebody on my social media page. Dan goes off the rails. Dan never goes off the rails. Well, Chris just chuckled too, so maybe. Okay, yeah, all right. I got the message. All right, maybe sometimes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Steven, you can shut the hell up too, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not attacking any. Don't go there like that with me. Don't start saying I don't attack anybody. No, I don't. No. I'm in a great place because you know why? I've realized I don't care about anything that people are saying that are negative anymore. I don't care. Yeah, because he told me I'm going to go off the rails, and I just said I'm going to go to hell. I'm not mad. Hey, just because I tell you to go to hell doesn't mean I'm mad. No. That's your own interpretation of being mad. See, mine is different. Your world is different than mine, Christopher. Your world is different. You see things differently. If I tell you to go to hell, that doesn't mean I hate you. That doesn't mean I'm mad at you. I'm just telling you to go to hell. Well, it's because I'm Italian and I get animated and it's the way I am and it's the way I live my life. You have a problem with that? I'm not self-hate. I hate. Wait, whoa. Hold on. We're not called Italians. We're called Italians. Can you get it right, Irishman? Please. Listen to me. I don't, of course, we're kidding. Relax. Okay, listen. Will you stop it? Get out of my ear. I know you are. Just get away from me right now. You are making me upset. See how this gets? See how this gets, man. See, listen, this is what, Play Action Real just says. Go to hell means Dan loves you, Chris. No. I completely agree with him more than I agree with anything your stupid mouth is saying right now. I've not been angry. I'm not. No, easy guy. Okay, I could. No, listen. You know what you're doing? I don't think so. I think you know what you're doing. Don't try to dissect me on the air here, or don't try to, sit down and. I'm not upset, you donkey. Yeah. Okay. How is donkey racist? Why don't you just shut up? Seriously, just shut up, man. You're making me sick, right? What? Sorry? Okay, make me feel better. I am not angry, guy. Good for you. Yes, I do. Yes. Why don't you shut up so I can get to my copy here on my Hooters here? And he's dead right. By the way, if you're in the Hooters, if you're in the Phoenix area, Hooters is your place to go right now, man. The Valley Hooters, They have absolutely been elbow to elbow because of all the great sports that are going on. You come off the heels of the NBA Finals with the Phoenix Suns. Now you have the Cardinals. This is crazy. $3 Michelob Ultra drafts, all the great UFC action, ASU, Arizona. I mean, it's pretty crazy there. Do me a favor. Tell them your boy Sileo sent you and any of the local Valley Hooters. We'll take a look at the standings in the National Football League. Let's do that next. You keep it right here on the Dan Sileo Show. That was really well done, though, man. That was a nice little fun segment. That was fun. Will you shut up? I'm only kidding you, jackass. I don't. No, you're a dope. Oh God, great! He ruined my show more now with some dumb rejoin. No, yeah, great. Okay, I can't not wait. Absolutely. No doubt about it. You get it. It's Hollywood, brother. Oh, so wait a minute. They take it too personal? Well, it's amateur radio. That's why. Absolutely. Oh, wow. God, is that what an absolutely fantastic thing you just said. My old J-Core days. God. What great days those were with radio. Yeah, they were more people weren't really watching them out west. East Coast, everyone's up your ass. You have me confused with somebody that gets pissed at people. I don't. What are you, a psychologist? It sounds like you've been on many couches. Oh, yeah, great. Okay, no, I think it's more that you've been on a few couches in your life. Nicely done. Nicely done. That was very, very well done. Yes, and it was well delivered. Very nicely done, Christopher. You do show me that you have a tad bit of creativity in your life. Okay, Fred, thanks. I am not. You're a tool. Oh, you don't. You never will know what it's about. You don't know what it's like to be me. Let me tell you something, Junior. No. Absolutely not. I could care less. I could care less. Oh, really? Some of the shit that you said? Oh, okay. Oh, I see. So you could step on it and it's all good, but still says something. I'm a dick. All right. See, that's a wait. Oh, but see that's okay. He's stupid. He's stupid, Chris. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. You're just being stupid, man. There's nothing wrong with me tonight. Nothing at all. I've got baseball and football going on. And since when have you become like some sort of like radio psychologist? Oh, I got it. It's because of the show before me. You think you could play one on the radio, right? I am not. No, I'm not. No, you really. Okay, so you could throw 70 things out and I make one comment. That's right. That's because, you're stupid. I don't know why Patty LaBelle. What's the show? What's the show? Tell me, because I thought you had some what? I thought you had some creativity. I don't know where you are with that. So tell me what it is so we all know what you're doing. Randy Michaels? Gabe? Dr. Laura. That was her song. Way to go, Chris. Wow. Holy cow. I'm going to tell you a quick story about Dr. Laura too. Fantastic human being. I worked with her at Premiere. And she is fantastic. The only problem I have is she stole my producer from me. She stole my producer because he was really good. I groomed this guy. She goes, man, this guy. No. She goes, Dan. This guy's name was Danny too, by the way. My wife worked with him. And my wife produced my show at Premiere. Get this. Yeah, no, honest to God, my wife was hired by Craig Kitchen and myself and Randy Michaels and Gabe Hobbs at Premiere Radio Network. My wife's one of the greatest producers in the history of radio. She produced my... Yeah, but now she says radio. She goes like this. I know the gimmick and all. You're just stupid, so it's all good. And I'm like, all right. Thank you. Oh, God. Are you done? Please, just shut up. I'm sick of you. I am not sick. I'm not moaning. I'm not moaning. It's a great night. It's baseball and it's football. Thank you. I'm going to lead myself into this now. Thank God Almighty, man. Thank you very much. Oh. How could you ever be upset in anything tonight, man? I mean, really, baseball, football? Folks, I've been telling you guys, you get away from all the stuff that people are actually truly trying to sell you, because that's what most of the people in the media are doing. They're trying to sell you something. You know what I do? I talk to you. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Steven's on my YouTube going, come on, Dan, let's have a debate. What do you want to talk about? Vaccinations? Here, I'll give you one story before we get into hold on for a second. This is a story now that's important. So the NBA believes that they could tell Kyrie Irving, the star point guard for the Brooklyn Nets, that he should be vaccinated, or they're not going to let him play. And they're not going to let him play on the road. And they're mandating that he be vaccinated or he's not going to be allowed to play. Do you think the NBA should have a right to tell a player and own a player's body and what they should do? Brooklyn Nets. And because of New York and all the restrictions they have, they're saying that he has to be vaccinated. And Kyrie's like this, I'm not going to get vaccinated, which means he'll play on the road. And the only other place, Chris, that has that mandate, I think, is Toronto, because Canada has that. So I'm not sure about that, because you know why? LeBron James, I'm not sure, is vaccinated, because every time LeBron gets asked a question, he passes on it. No. LeBron's a good dude. He's a good man. He just says some dorky things. And then I get it. But here's the problem that I have with that. So the NBA is now telling you that you can't tweet or talk about China. Now you can't do and have the ability to be able to control your own body. And when did it become fashionable for organizations to ask you about your private medical health? So the NBA is not going to mandate having marijuana tests, but they're going to mandate that you make sure you have your vaccinations. And my question again would be Kyrie Irving, who I'm not a fan of. I stand with him on this because I personally think that the player should have the right to choose whether or not. Okay? I mean, hey, then wear a mask. And he's all for wearing a mask, Chris, and following the mandates that you put in place for him when it comes to non-vaccinations. The NFL's not mandating that the players all be vaccinated. There's quarterbacks. Dak Prescott's not. Dallas Cowboy quarterback is not vaccinated. The quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen's not vaccinated. Carson Wentz is not vaccinated. Lamar Jackson, the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, has failed a COVID test twice. He's not vaccinated. But the NBA is coming off telling you that you have to be vaccinated or not? Where do you come off saying that? You're a basketball league, dude. You're not the CDC. I mean, get this. The people walking into some of these arenas. And here, I'm watching the stadiums tonight in the Tampa Bay and in Seattle. Nobody's got a mask on. Come on, man. Yes. Yeah, no. He's right. Right. The numbers are going down in Texas and they're going down in Florida again. All right. Absolutely. When all those fans were in the stands there for that North Carolina Virginia Tech game. Let me get into the standings here for the NFL here. So, again, there you go, Steven. There you go. Okay. Threw one out there for you. You know, I'll tell you this, going into tonight's game to start week 5 of the NFL, I said to you that this is a pretty big Thursday night game. This is the divisional game. This is a huge ball game tonight. And the Rams are up in this ball game. I got to tell you, there's no question the Rams needed this game. But if you are Seattle and you fall to 3-2 on the season, man, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to tell you this. In my opinion, I don't think Seattle's a playoff team. They barely can stop people on defense. And, hey, how about this? Russell Wilson's out of the ball game. Russell Wilson is now out of the ball game. Okay? And he's now sitting on the sidelines here. So, and Pete Carroll's talking to him. That's a big deal. Geno Smith is quarterbacking the Seahawks. Good grief. Geno Smith got ran out of New York. I'm not a good look right now for Seattle. Let's take a look at some of these divisions, though, as we're going into week 5 of the NFL here. AFC West, how about Buffalo? Buffalo's sitting at 3-1. And let me throw this at you here. They have done such a great job on defense. They've only given up 44 points in 4 ball games. Okay? Little over 10 points a game. It's amazing on what they're doing. 134 points that they scored already in 4 games. This is crazy. By the way, Russell Wilson has a hand injury. from what is being reported now. Not good news. Seattle doesn't have him on the field. Seattle has no chance of making the postseason. That football team, without Russell Wilson on the field, that football team would be lucky to win 5 ball games. They're just not a lot of talent on it. Miami's pretty decent in this division, but there's really nobody going to get. The Patriots are sitting at 1-3. What are they going to do? Mac Jones is a fine-looking young quarterback, and the Jets suck. Buffalo's going to run away with that division. My opinion, as of right now here on October 7th. AFC North, Bengals, Ravens, Browns, Steelers. Pretty good division, isn't it? Baker Mayfield, in my opinion, there's a new storyline out on him. You know what it is? So today, Baker Mayfield is playing with a labrum injury. That's a shoulder injury, right? My daughter has that. She plays D1 rugby, and she's 20 years old, and she's playing through it. You know why his agent floated that out there? Because the Browns haven't given him a contract extension. They want that out. The Browns aren't throwing. Why would in a million years would you ever think the Browns would want that out in case they ever had to move off him? It'd be like trying to sell a car that's been in an accident. You're never going to tell anybody the car's in an accident if you don't have to report it. You're just not going to do it. Or, hey, this house that I have here, the roof's not real good. You're not going to go down that line. You're not going to tell everybody what's wrong with what you're trying to sell. So his agent did it. I have no respect for Baker Mayfield. I think he's a high school quarterback. I think his mentality, too, and how he plays the ball game, I don't respect the guy. I do like Joe Burrow, though, at Cincinnati. They're sitting at 3-1. It's pretty cool. By the way, I won't lie to you. Geno Smith, it's pretty amazing. Just threw a touchdown pass. That's crazy great. Good for him. Good for him, man. The Ravens, I love Lamar Jackson. God, he's one of my favorite ball players. He is so good. He is, man. And by the way, you think anybody's really caring whether or not he's vaccinated or not? Nobody cares. Okay? He's failed 2 he's failed 2 COVID tests. Nobody cares. They're still going to give him a $200 million contract. He's going to get it. Nobody's debating that. Well, he's an anti-vaxxer, so I'm not giving it. You're not doing that. You're giving that guy everything he possibly can because you know that he's a unicorn-type player. AFC North Titans are leading the way right now, but it's not a very solid division. I still think the Colts can win this division with Carson Wentz if they play their cards right. Oh, one thing, too. The Jags are in this division. I talked to my aunt about this. And you know what I'm doing about Urban Meyer's story? I'm moving on from it. You're not going to hear me bring up the story any longer about what went on in Columbus with that co-ed. You know why? His daughter said something on Instagram tonight. And who am I to moralize somebody and talk about morals? My morals may be completely different than your morals. And the things you believe in, the things that I believe in could be completely different. His daughter came out and said, as a family, we've all moved on from this. I have a loving family. I love my dad. His character is without a doubt one of the greatest assets that we have in our family. And I know my dad's character, and I completely love my dad. We're all moving on. That's all I needed to hear. I don't live in their home. And if it's okay with the daughter and the wife and everybody in that room, why wouldn't it be okay with me? Well, this guy's a creep. Well, you know what? I wonder if people would think that I've done some shady things or you have done some shady things. Like I said, what I look at as moral, what he looks at as moral, what you look at, everyone is their own judge of what they think the difference between right and wrong is. Right? And isn't that fair? If his family's cool with it, who am I? I'm moving on from that story. You won't hear me bring it up again. My aunt even said it tonight to me. She's like, I'm done with that, right? Aren't you? I said, yeah. I heard his daughter tonight. Right. Yeah. Let's talk football. AFC West, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs. Who would have ever thought that the Chargers would be in first place, along with the Raiders and the Broncos, and the Chiefs would be in last place, and they got a massive game this weekend versus the Buffalo Bills. I still think the Chiefs win that division, but I love what I'm seeing with Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I love what I'm seeing with the Raiders. The Raiders are actually playing some pretty damn good football. Good for them. John Gruden has kind of silenced all the naysayers that Gruden should resign or leave the Raiders because it's just not getting better. It has, in small doses, gotten better every year that John Gruden's been the head coach again of the Raiders. So good for him. Good for him, man. And again, one thing that I love to do, folks, I love to do this. I love to be wrong in my takes. I know that sounds crazy, doesn't it? I really do. You know what it means if I'm wrong in my takes? That means somebody's usually succeeding. And in theory, I kind of speak to what I see, not what I hope happens. I hate the word hope and maybe. Those are people that play like the lottery every day. Okay? I like reality. I'm going to take a look at the NFC. We'll do that next to keep it here on the Sileo Show. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Means a lot. Thank you, sir. I'll let you know. I'll then again, you know what? I don't care to let you know. Well, you know, why do I care? Wow. And why don't you act like you know what you're doing one time or another, man? Just pretend you know what you're Hey, I've done that before though too, man. I walked away from something once and I go, you got one more segment. I got you, dude. I just talked shit on Geno Smith. I'll come out. Can I come out and say it here? Yeah. You know what? Hey, I forget what I was going to say. Damn it. Okay. Yeah. I hear you. Well, better than me. Oh my God, was she fantastic in Vegas? Exception. Hey, did she play with the Stars? No. I thought she got an NHL, or was it the Lightning? It was, but they signed her. Great, Chris. Appreciate the history lesson. Thank you, guy. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Let me throw this at you here, guys. Don't forget, if you're in the Phoenix area, appreciate everybody coming aboard as you do, and make sure you get on down to the Valley Hooters locations there. I mean, look, Arizona State, Arizona football is going through the roof, especially with the Arizona Cardinals, man. They're undefeated. Big game against the 49ers this weekend. Make sure you get to any of the local Hooters there. $3 Michelob Ultra drafts. UFC also. This is your place, your one-stop place. If you got a fantasy drafts, go there. This is a great place for you to go and have yourself a fabulous time. We were talking really about standings. We did the AFC in the last block. Let's do the NFC here. How about the Cowboys, man? How about that ballsy move they make by just blowing out Jalen Smith like that? I could not believe that Jerry let go of that guy. He really likes Jalen Smith. You see on their Twitter page? Thank you, Jalen. I really appreciate you coming and playing here. Good luck to you, son. And you're like, wow. Teams don't usually give you fond farewells. It's like the radio business. You get blown out. Get this. Do you know when you get blown out in the radio business, you know how you usually know? You go to the website and everything has been removed like you were Moses from the tablets. I thought I was on this website. No, that would be you're fired. That's how you know. Everything gets erased. That's kind of what usually the NFL does. But I got to give it to the Cowboys, man. I really like them. Cowboys are going to run away with the East. They are. They're playing really good football. Jerry's got it, man. If he could stay out of the way and let the football team play, I'll tell you this. I'm more concerned about Mike McCarthy than I am about Jerry Jones. I'd rather have Jerry coach the team than Mike McCarthy. How's that for you? I think Jerry's all good, man. Hey, by the way, congratulations, Jerry, on getting into the Cotton Bowl Hall of Fame. I thought that was pretty cool. He was on that national championship football team at 64 that played in the Cotton Bowl for the national title. And really a great honor to go to the Cotton Bowl Hall of Fame. I think that's a dope-ass honor, man. To go and I love the Cotton Bowl. It's one of my favorite bowl games. NFC North, Packers, how they're going to run away with that division. They're 3-1 right now. Bears are not going to do anything with Justin Fields. The Vikings, Mike Zimmer's going to get blown out. He's going to get fired. Lions, 0-4. Man, I think they're going to struggle to win 4 games. Okay? They made all those radical changes. And you know what's crazy? Do you guys remember a guy by the name of Jim Caldwell? They fired Jim Caldwell, and you know what his record was his final season? 9-7. And they fired him. I mean, it's like the curse of Jim Caldwell. Can you imagine? I mean, Lion fans, 9 wins. It may take you 3 years to get 9 wins. NFC South, Buccaneers, I think they're going to. Carolina just went out and got Stephon Gilmore. Okay, I know some media people are going around telling people that Stephon Gilmore doesn't have anything left in the tank. This guy was the defensive player of the year 2 years ago. Okay, and you think he doesn't have anything in the tank and he was a COVID opt-out last year. This guy just needs to get into shape. He's Stephon Gilmore. Now he's a rental. Maybe you could sign him to a contract extension. We'll see. But Carolina thinks they have a good football team. That comes off the heels of playing the Cowboys. Saints, I don't know. They're 2-2. Falcons, they're 1-3. They're not going anywhere. Then as I just talked to you about the Arizona Cardinals, the best division in pro football is the NFC West. 2 teams playing tonight in the NFC West. And the Cardinals are the best team in the division, which is crazy. And by the way, Geno Smith's playing his ass off tonight. Good for you, kid. Russell Wilson is out. He's playing his ass off. 5 for 5, 72 yards. He's at least keeping them competitive here tonight. Rams are 3-1. Probably going to win the game tonight. Going to run their record of 4-1 on the season. Cardinals end up having to play San Francisco on Sunday. That you could have, in theory, get this, every single team in the NFC West come Sunday night above 500 and within a game of first place. All 4 of those teams, Niners, Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals, in my opinion, could be worthy of making it to the playoffs. Now, the status of Russell Wilson will also be a determining factor if he's out for any extended period of time. There's no question they have no shot, in my opinion. Oh, and the Rays just keep rolling. God, that is such a great organization. It's incredible, man. Baseball, football, there's some college noise and some really good college games this weekend. We'll reset. You keep it right here on the Dan Sileo Show.